The Roaring 20s saw California Citrus Celebration receive a permanent home. Since then, the Orange Show Event Center has seen it all. Tonight, it's the K&N Pro Series West that'll do all the roaring. And it is time to roll again for the K&N Pro Series. Nicole Rouse would like to roll the 99 into victory lane for the first time. Cody Vanderwall knows what that feels like. He's won the last 2 races. Earlier today, Haley Deegan had a best qualifying effort in her young career of 4th. And the fans were all invited to meet the competitors up close and personal before they don the helmets and get behind the wheel. This is the Sunrise Ford 150 presented by Napa Auto Parts from the Orange Show Speedway. I'm Dave Burns. Derek Pernisigli will be down on pit road, and Landon Castle sits next to me. Landon, when you think of a flat quarter mile, what comes to mind?
Bumping and grinding. Does that sound like a dance? I don't know. It could be a dance here, but you got to hold your tempers at this track for sure.
Well, at least the temperatures haven't been hot. It's been cool this week in Southern California. You can see where this little track is located just down the road from Fontana.
Auto Club Speedway, 25 minutes down the interstate. That's where I get to race, but this is the grassroots racing short track quarter mile.
Sunrise Fords hold the top 2 spots, Landon, but not by much.
Hey, Dave, I'm looking at the whole top 5. Look at that 9-point gap between 1st through 5th. Last year, we saw a points leader involved in an accident. You never know what kind of points implications you can have on the championship at this race.
Let's get down to Derek, who's on the track.
Dave, Landon, let's go Saturday night short track racing here at the Orange Show Speedway with the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West. This will be the smallest track the series races on all year. So that means check your ego and your temper at the door. There's going to be bumping and banging and pushing and shoving. If you remember from last year's race, there were guys getting moved out of the way and the bumper was applied almost each and every lap. And it's probably going to happen here tonight. But what the track did to try to increase competition was adding an outside groove. You see this dark strip of the track compared to the light side? They're trying to make an outside here, laying down VHT track bite. So they put the track bite down, hopefully to promote some more side-by-side racing.
And with these cooler temperatures, Derek, in my experience, it's going to take a little bit longer for the track bite to really set in.
Here's how things looked last year at the Orange Show Speedway. Eggleston in the black 99, he was on the pole and traded the lead several times with that 16-car Todd Gilliland, the eventual champion. Michael Self gets into Gilliland here, moves him out of the way, but you know, in a quarter mile, that's not a caution. The next one was, this is Derek Kraus trying to get by in the 19, and he spins, then collects Gilliland, Bihar, Perkins, and more. Eggleston outduels Sheldon Creed at the end on the restart and goes to victory lane.
And that was back-to-back wins at Orange Show Speedway for Chris Eggleston. What we do know is we'll have a new winner tonight. What we don't know is will we have the carnage that we had last year.
I'm looking at the track, Landon, and it has not changed, so I'm thinking, yeah, probably.
Yeah, and there are some new dynamics with the tire, and there's a different face of drivers in this field tonight, so you just never know how that aggression can come out.
Well, you certainly have to be aggressive in qualifying. Derek's caught up with the pole sitter.
Well, Sunrise Ford may be the title sponsor here tonight at the Orange Show Speedway, but the number 9 of Ryan Partridge puts it on the pole, and he just came from driver intros, and you are from Rancho Cucamonga, just down the road. Haven't done much racing here, but how important is it to have that local track knowledge?
Well, this is just like a...
Much racing here, but how important is it to have that local track knowledge?
Well, this is just like I'm sure any typical tiny quarter-mile bull ring around the nation. It's a different style of racing, and the people that are true short track racers, they appreciate it. I mean, this is it's a different style of racing. It really is. You gotta use the bumper sometimes with finesse. Sometimes there's not really 2 grooves here, so you're not really gonna manage that outside very well. So I think it's gonna be. I mean, I think we did a good job starting out front. Got pole, so we're gonna start out front, and I think that's the safest place to be because there's going to be a lot of carnage deep in the field. So I think we just need to try to stay out front if we can, not burn our stuff down, hopefully be there at the end.
Ryan Partridge on the pole. He's going to bring the field to the green tonight.
You know, Dave, I got to hand it to Ryan. He looks very relaxed and very confident about that bumper with finesse, but yeah. I guess we're going to find out when the pressure's on how much finesse he can actually use with that bumper.
Well, they seem to back up your thoughts on carnage, too.
Yeah,
but deep in the field where he didn't want to be.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the fastest car in qualifying. He's got the track position. He's right where I would want to be starting in the lead.
K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N high-flow air filters and air intake systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. Thanks for joining us on NBCSN for the Sunrise Ford 150 presented by Napa Auto Parts here at the Orange Show Speedway. 16 cars in the lineup. We've already established they're not going to look the same when they finish the race as they look right now, which is beautiful. Derek, who do you have your eye on?
Well, guys, our Who to Watch driver tonight is the man that's going to bring us to the green. That's the number 9 of Ryan Partridge. He starts on the pole. He sits second in the points right now. He's yet to win a race this year, but he does have some experience at this racetrack in modifieds and in legend cars. He's hoping a little bit of that knowledge will help him get to the checkered flag here tonight.
How much can that pay off, Landon, when you've been around the track, even if it's not in this exact car?
I mean, it pays off a ton, but with the track bite, I guarantee you multiple years ago, he didn't have that on the racetrack. We've got 10 degrees of banking in the turns.
If?
Yeah, barely. You got to change directions fast here. 150 laps, twice a lap. That's 300 times you got to change directions with this car, better than the guys around you.
It's a good seat. You see the grandstands there full of fans who are going to look at this starting lineup. Ryan Partridge on the pole. Derek Kraus, last year's Rookie of the Year, to his outside.
And I like Trevor Huddleston in a 22 with my old crew chief, Clinton Cramp.
That is the third Bob Bruncati car in the field. So the orange and red, that's Sunrise Ford. That's Bruncati, and he's got a field full of them. Coming out of turn 4, it happens fast. It'll happen fast at Orange Show. Green flag is out for Ryan Partridge.
Quick jump to the lead, and look at how bad that 16 wants the bottom.
Oh my goodness, yes. Could not get down there. Cole Rouse blocks the shot. Now Kraus does get down to the bottom line.
That might have been a little teammate help, don't you think?
Maybe. They might have talked about that beforehand.
Yeah, give me the bottom and I'll be nice to you for the whole rest of the night.
We mentioned Bob Bruncati with 3 cars here. Of course, Bill McAnally Racing, the other super team. The 19, the 99, and the 16 in the field tonight, all running out of his stables. Racing, the other super team. The 19, the 99, and the 16 in the field tonight, all running out of his stables.
Haley Deegan there on the outside, already kind of getting into that track bite. I don't think it's going to be gripping very well just yet. You have to get some cars in that groove. Typically, by the time lap cars get into the track bite is actually when it starts to come in, and then you'll see the leaders start using up more racetrack.
There's Kraus just taking a peek at it, but clearly Partridge wants to stay below it.
Yeah, I mean, Kraus is driving pretty aggressively, I think, for early on here. You know, just I kind of have to see how it works out for him. You can see he's charging the corners a little bit harder than Partridge, and that can put a beating on your car over time, but we're going to find out in the next 15 or 20 laps who really has the best car.
See, the infield is clear on this short quarter mile. All pitting is done to the outside, but they won't be pitting unless they have to for damage. There is no halfway break. This is the set of tires that they will finish the race on, the one that's on the car right now.
Yeah, you can look in that shot there. It's like a parking lot. The whole racetrack is just all pavement, and we're used to seeing haulers in the infield.
Kraus just nudging with the nose of the 16. Yep. So Partridge knows, you mentioned it, fastest car in qualifying, single lap run. So what's his job here, Landon? He's got to keep the guys behind him, but Kraus is an aggressive young driver.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm watching my mirror. I'm trying to gauge how bad Kraus wants the lead, because I can tell that 9 car is the fastest car, and he knows that. Ryan knows that. So he's just trying to pace. How hard do I need to drive away from him, or can I just stay close to his bumper and save my tires just a little bit without getting wrecked?
In third, that's the car that won the last 2 years. The driver is now Cole Rouse in the 99. Fort Smith, Arkansas driver who has finished well this year. Certainly would like to be in victory lane. Tonight could be the night. I bet they kept the setup notes on that car. I bet they kept the setup notes on that car.
I sure hope they did. But right now in Cole's position, I always liked being in third place, because you can kind of gauge how bad the leaders want it right now. You can gauge how good their cars are. And it's almost like you're flying under the radar, and I can kind of preserve my equipment a little bit. So third is never a bad position. I've won races from third place with less than 5 to go. So he's kind of in a position to just be patient.
We'll see how long that patience will last for Cole Rouse. Meanwhile, up front, All Partridge and Krause.
Look at that, Derek Krause. You can see this rotors are already glowing 14, 15 laps into this race. So he's driving it hard. He's giving it all he's got.
Transition back to 6th place. Cody Vanderwall in the 43, that red car. He's won the last 2 races. Let's get to know him a little better.
Hi, I'm Cody Vanderwall, driver of the number 43 Ford. As you can tell by the hood, we're still looking for a major sponsor to help us get through this year. I got my start racing on a dirt track near my home in Colorado in a beat-up 1972 Monte Carlo. It was kind of a piece of junk, but I had a lot of fun with it. The transition from dirt to pavement was really good for me. I wasn't that great on dirt, and then as soon as I got to pavement, I figured it out. The goal is to run top 5 every week, win some races. We'd like to run for the championship. Well, my confidence level is definitely a whole lot higher than it was last year. It's not quite at the top where it should be, but it's getting there. I'm Cody Vanderwall, and that's your NASCAR Next Gen Profile.
I think Cody just earned some extra street cred for that first ride. I've had a few cars like that. That's when you have a rattle can spray paint your number on the door. I have done that before.
Yeah, Monte Carlo back then, that was a good ride.
Yeah, that's a good one. Usually a power glide transmission in one of those babies.
Sweet. Meanwhile, a Ford Fusion leads the field here at the Orange Show Speedway.
And they're still within a half a car length of each other.
Trying to decrease that if they can. Coming by to complete or begin lap 33. Again, 150 laps. Oh, trouble in turn 4. Zachary St. Onge is around in the 08. And it looks like everyone gets by.
Well, that's a good little test, long run test on these guys. 30 laps without a caution. Now they know what their cars are doing.
Zachary, the 16-year-old from Upland, California, driving for John Wood. Gets the car straightened around and takes to the figure 8.
Yeah, look at, we talked about the parking lot earlier. You could just drive through the infield.
Oh, these are the leaders coming through. Derek Thorne needed to get by.
Yeah, he just kind of dove it in there, and that spotter almost couldn't get to it quick enough. And maybe Zachary didn't look in his mirror and see that the 6 was underneath him.
Haley Deegan makes a nice move around. You see our spot shadow in the upper right there. Another look at it. And yeah, once you've gone in that high in the line, St. Onge probably should have stayed in the sticky stuff, right? The higher line.
Yeah, and especially with the track bite, I mean, you could kind of try to stay up there and just keep your momentum up so that even when you're getting lapped, you're not losing a whole lot of time.
First caution of the night. The leader has been Partridge from the start, but Derek Krause is right there. Back at the Orange Show Speedway for the Sunrise Ford 150 presented by Napa Auto Parts. Cleanup is complete and the track is ready again for racing. Field gets the green off of turn 4. Let's see who's got the advantage going into turn 1. It is tight.
I think Partridge has had a better car all night, but Krause has been driving more aggressive, so he's really looking at this as an opportunity to clear Partridge, and it looks like he does, so we'll have to see if he can hold on to this track position.
Yeah, maybe even helped him up to the high line there just a little bit, and now Nicole Rouse in the 99 is pressuring Partridge for second. Meanwhile, Haley Deegan in the 19, she's stuck on that high side. Let's see if she can make it work. Now finds a way down.
She made it work earlier. She cleared herself again. I don't know if that's just her skills or if it's the track bite. What could be helping her there?
Contact back here. Nice run into the top 10 for the 13 of Todd Souza, the 10 of Matt Levine, and they figure it out.
There's that 16 of Derek Krause, kind of gapping the 9 just by a car length or two. So that aggression worked out for him. You know, we talked about earlier how the 9 looked like he was pacing himself. You didn't see his rotors glowing like he did the 16. So you could tell the 9 was a little better race car. But here's that 16 leading out front right now, 50 laps into it.
Looking back further, you see that orange and black 4. That's Will Rogers, announced as part of the NASCAR Next class this week, as was Derek Krause. Derek?
Well, Dave, I talked with Derek Krause in the number 16 earlier in the day today, and he is only a teenager at 16 years old, and I asked him, are there any parts of your teenage life that you feel like you're missing because you're racing? And he said, one of the things that I missed out on was going to a high school dance or going to a homecoming event at my school. And one of the biggest things is I haven't had a chance to ask a date to the prom.
Aha! See, things are different when you're a teenager racing in NASCAR.
Hey, I feel him, though. I was in the same boat when I was racing late models, and I don't want to age myself too much. I'm only 28, but I raced when I was his age against his dad, Mark Krause, in Wisconsin.
No way.
Yes way. Yes way.
Well, that makes
I'm not lying to you, Dave.
That makes both of you older than Derek. He's actively involved in his high school, Stratford High School, wrestles on the wrestling team and is quite a good athlete. But yeah, I mean, there's times when the weekend is about racing and you just can't do everything.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I'm sure he has good teachers that work with him, get him his homework, and you got to get it done.
Been watching the lap times across the top there. The pole time was a 13:17 by Partridge, and with tire fall off here, Landon, they're about 7/10 down from that.
Yeah, that's quite a bit.
Up.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. I mean, it shows that the cars are slowing down. I talked to Derek Thorne after practice, and he said that he's still trying to figure out how to manage the in and outs in practice, the heat cycles on the tires, and how you adjust on the car accordingly. Because in practice, you don't just go out and make a 50-lap run like we're seeing now. You're making 6 to 8 lap runs. The tires cool off, they get hot again, then they cool off again. So it does change the balance of the car when you're trying to tune it. Oh, you can see Derek Thorne right here getting loose into the corner. Entry stability is extremely important on a quarter-mile racetrack like this. You got to be able to charge that corner, but have a car that's stable underneath you so you don't slide up into the guy.
While he's doing that, his teammate wants the lead back, and Partridge is going to get it. Ryan Partridge back to the front around Derek Kraus.
And he's just shown all night that his car can roll through the middle. His brakes aren't nearly as hot. His car just carries better momentum through the corners.
Here's Haley Deegan challenging Derek Thorne for 4th. Her best qualifying effort so far in her very young K&N career, 4th today, earlier this afternoon. You can see she gets a little out of shape as you try to put that power down. Oh, and maybe even put a bumper to him.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Haley, though, tonight. I liked what Derek Thorne just did on the outside using that track bite. And here's one thing about the track bite that you can see. Where it's black on the outside, see how it's kind of fading down into the groove a little bit?
Right.
I think that's why it's not such a huge advantage, because the cars actually pick up the track bite on their tires from the outside groove and carry it into the bottom, and it actually does improve the bottom groove. So that's why the bottom is still the preferred lane.
Saw the graphic there. Haley, another one of the NASCAR Next drivers, announced this week, and she is just very direct about her goals. She wants to win. She says, hey, girls never won in K&N. I want to be the first.
She can do it. I've talked to some of her competitors, and they think highly of her. They have said she has the aggression to do it.
You know, Dave, Landon, we're racing in such a small, tight space of the Orange Show Speedway that some of the strategy tonight with the teams is they told their drivers you want to be the odd man, meaning you want to start on the inside track. The inside line is definitely the place to be here. So some drivers will actually give up a spot or two just so they can be that odd number in the scoring lineup. So when they do go to a yellow, they get the inside line for the restart.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that surprises me, because I've always liked being on the outside, because I like to be able to pinch the guy down and try to get my fender in front of them. But, you know, at a place like this, there's not a terrible banking transition where around the white line. So if you're on the inside, you can just almost shortcut the track and just give yourself a little extra room.
I was going to ask about that earlier. That white line certainly indicates where the banking begins, but you can put your tires below it if you want to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This isn't Talladega or Daytona. This isn't super speedway racing. I think short of completely cutting the infield, which may not be faster anyways, you can use all the real estate you can find.
Something tells me NASCAR discretion would come into play at that point.
Yeah, it would be an 8th-mile racetrack at that point.
That's right. Leader Partridge goes by the 18 of Bill Kahn. Meanwhile, the battle for 3rd still goes on between Nicole Rouse and Derek Thorne. You mentioned Thorne getting used to the heat cycles and such in practice. He was quickest in final practice, so at least by the end of this afternoon, he had that put together. And many of the teams were here yesterday for a test session, if you will. They get to do that often before race day and took advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, Derek, he loaded his car up early. He didn't complete all of practice. He put up his number, got a couple of adjustments in, and said, hey, I'm happy with it. And he's kind of inching his way closer to the leader. You can see him coming up on those McAnally cars. Maybe he's a contender for later.
Inches is all it takes here at Orange Show Speedway right now. Partridge has a few over Kraus. Nearing halfway at the Orange Show Speedway, and the leader for the K&N Pro Series West Division is Ryan Partridge. He was the fastest qualifier earlier today and has led most of the laps, though for a while the 16 of Kraus got by. Surprisingly or not, no one else has been able to get right up there and battle. Rouse has stayed in the back a little bit, and the 6 of Derek Thorne as well. They've not really gotten up to challenge yet.
Yeah, I mean, you could see Derek taking the rotors glowing to the next level. He's got all 4 rotors glowing. The rears are glowing too. You know, he told me after qualifying that he overdrove his car a little bit in qualifying, so hopefully he's finding a rhythm in the race tonight. But Ryan Partridge is just kind of setting the pace. He's keeping Derek Kraus within striking distance, but you almost wonder if he's controlling it or if they're both giving it 100% right now.
I think I can call Partridge a wily veteran in this series. He had an important birthday a couple days ago. It was a decade birthday, so he's 30 now, so he's got the experience, but sat out the entire season last year, so he hasn't won since 2016, which was a 3-win year. I think he's not forgotten, not lost a step.
No, definitely not, and he's in good equipment. You know, Bob Brancati's team has been around for a long time. They've got some fresher cars right now. I think that's the performance is showing in their development as an organization.
This is the ebb and flow, even at this level, Landon, where somebody has the next best thing, and then you get behind, and then you get the next best thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a good car doesn't last forever. Believe it or not, race cars gain weight as they get older, just like we all do, I suppose. They just pick up rubber and junk in the chassis. You know, you end up bolting more things onto them or fixing them, and they just get heavier and they flex more. So you really have to update your fleet at least once a year if you can, if you have it in the budget.
Of course, the lighter you can make your race car within the rules, the better power to weight ratio you can get and hopefully be faster.
Yeah, especially at a track like this where we're not talking about aerodynamics. Low CG, get the weight down, get the weight on the left side tires.
Pretty good battle out there for the 5th spot between Haley Deegan and the number 19 and the 43 of Cody Vanderwall. Vanderwall made headlines in the last race when he won the Twin 100 races at Tucson. Haley Deegan, her star is on the rise, driving for Bill McAnally Racing this year. She was just elected to the NASCAR Next Class for the 2nd year in a row, and when she came here tonight with that number 19 machine, she said, "This is the best we've been so far this year. Everything is working great for us, and I feel confident going into this race tonight."
Haley's got some off-road truck racing background.
Does
That's
that
pretty
help here?
wild.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's where the aggression comes from. You know, I told you earlier that her competitors have kind of said, "Man, she's got the move," right? You talk about guys like Jimmy Johnson comes from Southern California off-road racing.
Well, Haley's brother has continued the family legacy that Dad Brian started with, being sort of the action sports hero, if you will. He's gone that direction. She has gone more I want to get into stock cars. I want to race in NASCAR direction, and she's doing a good job of it, though, getting a big challenge right now from Cody Vanderwall.
Yeah, it's a good little race going on, and I like how Haley is kind of arcing it into the corner and getting her right side tires. You can see into turn 1, getting her right side tires into the track by using that to try to point the car and, like I said, change directions to get a straight exit.
For Vanderwall, this looks a little bit like the second race at Tucson. Bumper, hello.
Tight quarters.
Yep, where he had to come from behind. The first one he led most of the way and was really the car to beat. So we'll see if he can repeat what happened in race number 2 at Tucson last week. Up trouble again for Zachary St. Onge. This time it is turn 2. Right in front of this action, there is a 0-8. And I would say the learning process continues for Zachary, right?
Yeah, and sometimes there's just nowhere to hide on a quarter-mile racetrack. You're either always passing somebody or always getting passed.
See if we get another look at this and find out exactly who or what happened to Zachary here. Again, the Orange Show Speedway, tight racing, flat quarter mile. Track bite applied to the upper groove, but that doesn't always mean that you can survive this. Take a look.
And we've seen just kind of multiple incidents tonight have been a factor of fighting for real estate on a quarter-mile racetrack, regardless of the track bite.
Then you got a little high there and may have had a little contact with the 4 of Rogers. Kind of hard to see from that angle, but they both get it refired and will rejoin the field, which has not changed at the front. Ryan Partridge appears to have everything he needs. He just needs the laps to click off here, Landon.
Yeah, and these guys right now are thinking, okay, I'm 2/3 of the way through this race. I've got one more 50, 60 lap stretch. How do I pace myself based on what I've learned earlier in the night? What can my car handle for a 50 lap stretch to get me to the end of the race and maintain the best lap times.
And if you're the second place 16 car of Derek Kraus, when do I really apply the pressure, right?
Absolutely. And if you're the number 9 of Ryan Partridge, do I need to use that bumper with finesse like I talked about?
We'll line them up 2 by 2 when we come back to the Orange Show Speedway and see who gets to jump into turn 1. San Bernardino, California, the site of the Orange Show Speedway and the Orange Show Event Center, which has a whole lot of things going on throughout the whole year because the weather's always great in Southern California, right? Racing is the word of the night, and it's been all about the Sunrise Fords of Ryan Partridge, and right there, the 6 of Derek Thorne with a little contact. There's Partridge going back to the lead, and Landon, for the most part, he's controlled this race.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of aggression. We haven't seen that big one, points implicating accident quite yet, but you never know. There's 50 laps to go. We'll see what happens.
You're on the edge of your seat like you're expecting it.
Well, I'm looking at those top 5 in points being 9 points apart, thinking, I want to see some action. Maybe there could be some aggression that happens here.
That's right. You can make a change here tonight. The top 5 in the series separated by only 9 points after 3 races. And Partridge did not come in as the leader. Thorne, his teammate, the 6 car, is the leader. And now he's getting some bumper action right there. And will settle in 4th. So the 2 wide has faded, except for that battle continuing for 5th between Deegan in the 19 and Vanderwall in the 43.
You see Cole Rouse in the 99 didn't quite give as much room to his teammate this time to let him get to the bottom as he did 100 laps ago.
Man, that's a lot of contact. 47 laps to go. They got to reserve a little something for the end. Vanderwall will cleanly get the spot this time.
Cleanly, but he's driving for it right now. Look at him get loose into turn 1.
Yeah, I guess cleanly in quotes when you're on a quarter mile. Oh, trouble. Jesse Awuji in turns 1 in quotes when you're on a quarter mile. Oh, trouble. Jesse Awuji in turns 1 and 2 has spun the 36. And he stayed out of the wall and the barrels there, so that's good news, but it does bring the caution back out. And he was running near the back of the pack. We'll see if there were others involved.
Ryan Partridge has got to be thinking, how many more of these restarts can I survive?
Well, and it really destroys your rhythm, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, at this point, he knows he's got the best car, but not by enough to just take it easy.
And Jesse finds his way back there with the 77 of Nick Joannidis, the 84 of Rich DeLong, and there's Zachary St. Ange as well in the 08. But in the upper right here, Jesse's the last car in. And down below is Bill Kahn, and that looks like there was a little...
Just not enough room.
Yep.
Needed to leave more on the bottom there.
And that's how it happened for Lieutenant Awuji. He rejoins the field, led by Ryan Partridge, who won back in 2016 3 times, the last of which was in Roseville, California at the All-American Speedway. Let's take a look back at how that happened. And Landon, there was some contact.
Lots of contact here. You know, this is a lot of racing room at this track, but tight corners, very unique racetrack.
Quarter mile as well, but different than where they're racing here at Orange Show.
And that's what started it.
That's Todd Gilliland in the 16.
And here's what finished it.
That is a bumper to the rear bumper. Kind of knocked out the grill on the 9, but that didn't stop him. He wins. So he knows a little something about aggressive racing on a quarter mile, huh?
Man knows what he wants. Knows how to get there. Look at that. Flexing the muscles.
And I think there's a rhythm to racing in these tight quarters, Landon. And so if you're good at it, you're going to be good at it, and you're going to keep being good at it. And he's shown it again here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he talked before the race about the die-hard short track people, and I think he's one of them. I think he said that with pride. He knows how to run on these quarter mile, 3/8 mile racetracks. That bumper with finesse, not always. He didn't have to use it at All-American.
Back under green here in San Bernardino. And Partridge trying to distance Kraus. They stay 2 by 2 for a full lap here all the way back through the field. And now Thorne trying to make his run on the outside in the 6 car to get 3rd from Cole Rouse.
Derek Kraus just kind of hung on a little bit longer there. Had a better gap to get back to the inside.
Well, and he can see Landon now. Oh, trouble! Wow, that was close. Thorne with contact from Rouse.
Derek Thorne took a shot from behind there. as we see the 08 of St. Ange spun again on the inside.
Yeah, weren't sure if that was going to cause a caution or not, but Zachary has spun down to the inside, and NASCAR can't let him sit there. So I bet he's got it refired now and will join the field, but that brings out yet another caution back to the rhythm of short track, and it is once again disturbed.
Yeah, those little bumps and nudges like that, that's when the tempers start flaring, you know, for Derek Thorne. He just got knocked out of the way, but he still has his position. Now he has to kind of regain himself, say, look, this is just racing. I got to put myself in position to be patient and stay focused and not just get wrapped up in one car. Here's a replay from Zachary St. Ange.
Spins off in turn 4. Comes to rest on the infield and started looking it over. This is what I was looking over, the bumper cover on Derek Krause's car. This car has been to a short track race.
Yeah, absolutely. And this really isn't a problem right now, aero-wise or anything like that. You just don't want it to fly off and end up getting black flagged or anything from NASCAR.
Just under 40 laps remaining now at the Orange Show Speedway. Ryan Partridge in the 9. Can he hold off the 16 of Krause for another restart coming up? So glad you could tune in tonight to see the Orange Show Speedway and the K&N Pro Series West putting on a fantastic show. Right now, the 9 of Partridge wonders if he's going to get another show from Krause on the outside at the restart, and he is.
We've seen a lot of good, clean racing tonight. I wonder how clean it's going to be for the next 30 laps.
Yeah, a lot of contact right there, fighting for position. All the drivers want that low line. There has been a little bit of the top line coming in, but it's really not the fast way around. And Krause is going to sneak back into second around Derek Thorne in the 6.
Nicole Rouse almost had a good crossover move going, but he gave Derek Thorne a little extra room than I thought he would there.
Rouse is in the 99. The 19 is Haley Deegan. The 43 is Cody Vanderwall. And now Matt Levine, off the wall, bounced off as he left turn 2.
Yeah, that's no big deal. Just bounce her off the wall. These cars can handle it at this little place.
Well, I'm racing Todd Souza in the 13, so I got to keep going, right?
Exactly. Stay in the gas.
Oh, man. Good driving, Matt.
I like Haley Deegan on the outside here. She's keeping her momentum up, keeping it rolling, using that track bite.
And they got into it again. Souza got into Levine. Somehow he corrects it, and they're still going. He's got damage now.
No caution yet.
Nope. Looks like they're going to stay green. And we've been watching the color of that high line all night, Derek.
You know, after we talked with a lot of drivers earlier in the day today, talking about that track bite strip that's in the outside groove, they said, yes, it helps you up in the outside groove of the racetrack. It helps you roll the top, but they didn't think that you could do much passing out there. Well, a lot of those guys are proving us wrong tonight with Ryan Partridge taking the lead over Derek Krause with an outside move, and Partridge's teammate, Derek Thorne, just went around the outside of Nicole Rouse in the 99 to move into the 3rd spot.
And now we're seeing Haley Deegan keep the 19 ahead of the 43 of Vanderwall using the high line.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Haley has had the best use of the outside lane all night. She's done a good job keeping her right side tires in it on entry, rolling it if you have to. Look at that bumper cover kind of flying off of Derek Krause's car there. I think it's stable, though. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Here's Thorne. He is through to second.
And he's a solid 2 or 3 spots stronger than he was early in the race. Obviously, he's running second now. I think his cars just kind of come to him. Those 2 McAnally cars were strong earlier in the race, but that 6 has just kind of closed the gap.
Well, and I'm going to point this out. There is a lot of experience in the 2 front runners over the next 2 racers, right? Both Krause and Rouse, young drivers who are still learning. And Partridge and Thorne, I mean, they are, I'll call them KG veterans, even though they're, only in their 30s.
Yeah, absolutely. And on a track like this, a lap time's 13, 14 seconds. And so that experience, if you can find an in and out that'll get you a half a tenth or a couple hundredths, and makes the difference of 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet at a time. And next thing you know, you got a 10-car length lead.
Working lap 130 of 150. And now Partridge has to think, all right, how much does my teammate know? He's about 3 car lengths behind me. He is Derek Thorne. How fast and how hard do I need to go in the 9 car?
Well, you got 2 cars that look identical to each other, but they couldn't be driving on the racetrack any more different. You got the Partridge leading the race, making time off the corner, and you've got Derek Thorne in second, making time into the corner, charging with a lot of aggression into the corner under braking.
So teammates running first and second. teammates running third, fourth, and now fifth. Here comes Deegan.
Strong run for Haley here. Kind of watching her teammates race aggressively. This is a chance for her to take a break from Cody Vanderwall. Run for Haley here. Kind of watching her teammates race aggressively. This is a chance for her to take a break from Cody Vanderwall. You know, she just had a 40, 50 lap battle with him where she finally was able to clear Cody by a few car lengths. And some lap traffic also becoming a factor. You know, we got two cars running different lanes. These guys got to be smart about how they get around them.
Bill Kahn moves to the high side. Takuma Koga in the 11. He'll do the same. Jesse Iwuji just in front of him.
These guys are thinking right now, let me just get by him and keep my fenders on the car.
And you see those brake rotors glowing again for Kraus. The good thing is that that's normal. You don't want to over-abuse them, but they're going to get some heat in them. Looks like Derek's been using them the most, though.
Yeah, and their pedal, you know, Derek, as hard as he's been using the brakes tonight, I would imagine that he's probably lost 10, 15% of his brake pedal. It's just pushing a little bit deeper. It's getting a little bit softer, and that's giving him the sign of, hey, I'm right at the threshold, and I've got 14 laps to go. I think I'm good to the end on these brakes. I'm going to push them.
Keeping that very low line off the corner. Rouse just a little bit higher. Now Haley eyeballing the situation, thinking, where can I go here? Someone has already tried to use up the left rear of Rouse's 99. We can see that. Good look at the speeds they generate here, even on a quarter mile. These are NASCAR race cars. They have a big power to weight ratio. And if you don't apply the gas pedal just right, you're going to wear those tires out. We'll see who's kept a little bit for the end here. Just heading to 10 to go next time by.
You know, Cole Rouse in that 99, thinking maybe I could use my bumper to get around my teammate.
Meanwhile, teammates getting around lap traffic, and Thorne is there.
Here's your race for the lead. Derek Thorne has reeled in his teammate. We didn't see much of him the first half of the race in the top three, but here he is contending for the win. I'd say if Partridge was holding back at all earlier in the race, where we didn't really know, is he kind of toying with him? Is he giving him a gap? Now's when we're going to find out, because he sees a different car behind him, and he's thinking, man, I don't know. Is that guy actually better than me? Is my teammate better than me? Oh, man.
Are my teammates wrecking into me? Oh, they're trying to get by, that's for sure. Kraus has all he can handle with Rouse now, and more contact coming off of two. Haley's like, you know what? You guys figure this out. I might just go by.
Man, that's great racing right there now. And Cole's got the position, but I'm a little bit nervous thinking, okay, did I cut my right front tire? You know, this is kind of getting in my head now with only 6 laps to go. I got to make sure that I don't blow a right front.
There's Haley taking the opportunity, and she's going to pass Kraus for that position. Perhaps Rouse and Deegan saving a little bit more than Kraus for the end of this race.
And we saw Derek Kraus race so hard early on, and now he's paying for it with just less than 5 to go.
Trevor Huddleston making a nice move in the 3rd Bruncati car. And that's the number 22. Good run for him tonight. Back up front, his teammates, the 9 of Partridge, the 6 of Thorne. And you're right, I think now Partridge is saying, I am just going to go leg this out.
Yeah, he's got the fast car. He saw his mirror, he saw that orange roof and said, I don't want to mess with Derek tonight. I'm out of here.
Partridge was out of this league for the entire season last year, was not able to obtain a license from NASCAR at the start of the season, had to sit out 2017. That was coming off of a 3-win year in 2016. We showed you one of the highlights from one of his wins that year. He was on the rise and had to put things on hold, as now he gets the white flag and tries to make his return complete.
All 4 rotors glowing on Derek Thorne, but it's not enough to catch his teammate, Ryan Partridge.
Ryan Partridge is all the way back. He's going to win at Orange Show Speedway.
Nice little move coming across the line there, putting the wheel spin and jerking it sideways. Great win for Ryan Partridge.
Doesn't need those tires anymore and wants to tell the world, hey, I'm back, baby, and I'll be back in victory lane here at Orange Show. Anymore and wants to tell the world, hey, I'm back, baby, and I'll be back in victory lane here at Orange Show. What a sweet night for him. Had to toy with him for a while, but when it was time to go, he could. Obviously had the best car.
Yeah, great top 5 to Haley Deegan, putting in a 4th place finish, just inching her way up.
We'll talk to the winner in a moment. K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. Welcome back to Orange Show Speedway. Quiet now after 150 laps of NASCAR racing, where a leader who knows how to get it done came back to victory lane after a very long road. Let's head down and talk to Ryan Partridge. Derek is there. And listen to the crowd.
Yeah, I think they're happy for their hometown boy.
That's right, Rancho Cucamonga, not far down the road. Okay, now let's go down to Derek.
Well, Ryan Partridge starts on the pole tonight, comes home with the win. Fell back to second for a little while, but was that restart the only chance you had to get the lead back?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure we had a very dominant car. On the restart, the 16 was running the outside, actually beat me to the stripe, but we weren't quite pushing too hard. If I recall, it was lap 50 or something like that. You don't want to use up all your friends, by lap 50. So we were just playing nice. I know he was maintaining his outside. Anyways, he crossed the stripe first, which was able to give him the lead for the restart. But anyways, I think we did our job. Our Sunrise Ford Fusion was on fire. Bob Bruncotti, Marie Bruncotti, all the people involved. Great finish for Sunrise Ford. Derek Thornton finished in second. I think we're still 1-2 in the points. I think that might knock me up to first though. Anyways, it was stellar. All the guys in the shop really put together. It shows their hard work. A couple of scratches on the cars, but I think that's good for Orange Show Speedway.
Welcome back to victory lane.
Thank you very much.
Ryan Partridge, a winner here tonight at the Orange Show Speedway.
Hey, if nothing else, Ryan Partridge knew he could win this race from the moment go. I mean, you could hear the confidence in his voice, not just there, before the race started. He was kind of like, hey, I might go easy on these guys, I'm not sure.
Good finishes here as well. Deegan, the best of her career. Huddleston, the third Sunrise car in sixth position. Todd Souza, eighth. And Matt Levine rounded out the top 10 in the 10 car, even after a lot of contact. Let's head back down to Derek with second place and the car owner.
Well, Sunrise Ford was the title sponsor for the race. A Sunrise Ford car sat in victory lane, and a Sunrise Ford car sat in the second spot with Derek Thorne coming home in the runner-up position, but it looks like you're starting to run Ryan Partridge down.
Yeah, we were a little bit. We weren't as good as he was, though. Those guys in the 9 had a really good car all night, led most of the laps, I think. And, to have Bob Bruncotti have such an awesome team, to be able to come home here first and second, here at our home track for Sunrise Ford in front of hometown fans, the Sunrise Ford 150, I'm kind of getting tired of being the bridesmaid, not to lie a little bit, but nonetheless, from a team aspect, you couldn't ask for a better night.
And Bob, you look like you're overjoyed right now, almost with tears in your eyes. What does this mean to you?
It means an awful lot. Having these two drivers and these two teams do the kind of job that they're doing, it's a dream.
Well, he's a two-time championship car owner, and it looks like they're looking for another one this year.
You got that.
Man, what a great guy. I mean, Bob Bruncotti is a legendary car owner in this series. He gives young drivers a fair shot in good equipment, and he just wants to win as a car owner.
His drivers stay at the top of the points, though they've flipped spots. Partridge is now the championship leader.
Still a pretty decent gap for the championship battle, so we got a good one going, but are we saying that the old guys are up front?
Oh, yeah, again. Let's hear from a young guy.
Nicole Rouse comes home in the third spot tonight in the number 99 car, and looked like everyone was getting aggressive out there. How aggressive did you have to get? Because you dropped back a few positions, but were able to make your way back up there.
Yeah, we struggled a little bit on the restarts. We were a little tight on restarts. We got better in the long run. I feel like we could have got to the 6 and 9 if we got past the 16 a little bit faster. We were definitely better in the long run. I tried to make the high side work, but I mean, it worked for a little while, but then it just kind of went away. I think our right front just kind of went away on us. But I don't know, I'm disappointed with a third. Not happy about a third either. So we definitely want to come to Memphis and win that one for my whole Napa Filters team. So I'm excited for that.
A third-place finish for Cole Rouse in the number 99 Napa Filters team.
Cole doesn't need to be so hard on himself. I mean, he drove a great race. He had a lot of consistency. He just had a top 3 car tonight, and sometimes you got to take that and move on to the next.
He mentioned Memphis. That's our next race broadcast. It'll be an East Series event. which he gets to race in. So that'll be exciting for him.
Yeah, and that's a great racetrack. I mean, he'll have a shot at winning.
The shot at winning tonight was probably between a half a dozen or so, including that guy, Ryan Partridge, who was the pole sitter on a very flat quarter-mile track. We saw a lot of great action, Landon.
Yeah, I mean, and you never know. Sometimes you have carnage at a quarter mile, sometimes you don't. Tonight we didn't, but we still had tons of contact and a lot of close racing.
A lot of repairs, though, if not carnage, right?
Yeah, these guys are going to have to fix their cars for the next one. That's for sure.
Sure glad you could join us here for Derek Perniciglio and Landon Castle. I'm Dave Burns. We'll see you next time on NBCSN for K&N Pro Series Racing. There's your winner tonight at Orange Show. Ryan Partridge is back in victory lane.